everybody. Hey, just Tugboat and me right here, and we just are getting ready for this Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves review of movies Merica. Yeah. And Tugboat here has a weakness for everything that's medieval, you know, knights and wizards and spells and all that. So that is why he's going to join me for this episode. So stay tuned and check out this intro.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Hey there, my movie maniacs, my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica. Come on in. Put up your feet, okay? We got a roaring fire and a bearskin rug. Okay, we don't have any of those things, but you're welcome all the same. Absolutely. And this week, this episode, we are going to get all freaky and geeky, okay? Because this movie that I'm reviewing this week is Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Yes, that is our lucky motion picture, okay? And we'll get right into it. What do you say, okay? Let's bust out the board game.
Let's go, I'm bored, let's go.
Let's get right into it. And so this is the latest Dungeons & Dragons movie. Now, there was one way back in the day, I believe, but now we need to have a new Dungeons & Dragons filmed for a modern audience. Yes, for today's sensitivities. Because we don't want to offend anybody. No, we have to have a brand new Dungeons & Dragons for today, okay? And this particular Dungeons & Dragons movie stars Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez. And Chris Pine, he plays, I don't know, I can't remember his name. You know why? Because I don't care, okay? And now I do remember Michelle Rodriguez's character, Holga, I believe is her name. And so Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, there's thieves. And when we first see them, they're in prison. They've been in prison for thievery and all that. And they get out of the prison somehow. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. And they make their way to find Chris Pine's daughter that, obviously, since he was in prison, he left her behind, okay? And she is being looked after by Hugh Grant's character. And they reunite. Hugh Grant was part of their little thievery gang back in the day. And Chris Pine told him to promise him, hey, you'll take care of my daughter while we're in prison, okay, while we're in the pokey. And things happen, you know, with this reunion, and Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, they find themselves on the outs of this castle, of this kingdom. Chris Pine is again away from his daughter, and he now has a mission. He has to get back to his daughter, and he needs help with that, okay? And Michelle Rodriguez, I guess, isn't enough help. So then he goes out and he finds some characters that he used to know, and then a wizard or some tiefling character that can shapeshift. And they have to go through all these different challenges and find these various articles in order to get to the next level, closer to getting back to the castle where his daughter is. And you see all kinds of creatures and locales, like, you know, medieval Dungeons & Dragons kind of locales, that kind of thing. And so they get into all kinds of adventures and whatever. So that, in a nutshell, that is Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. That's what we're dealing with here. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis. And let's get right into the rest of this review here, but I should mention, as you see, I'm holding my microphone here. I didn't want to go any further without mentioning that because that's a glaring, thing that you're seeing right now. And yeah, I had this microphone arm that I paid like $1.25 for.
The state charges $1.25, pal.
And like they say, you get what you pay for, right? And that thing just fell apart on me. Like it crumbled like a bunch of grape nuts. Okay, it just crumbled on me, and so yeah, here we are holding the microphone. But next episode, we're gonna have a new and improved, shiny and spiffy microphone arm. So we'll be back to me not holding the microphone. Okay, but hold on, we're gonna get right back into the rest of this review. Now, this show is spoiler free, but this Thursday night, I will be getting all up in some spoilers in the spoiler show, and that is actually the Movies Merica spoiler warning show, where I'll be getting all spoilery, all about Dungeons and Dragons there. And it's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, so that's 6 Central, 5 Mountain, okay? And that's on YouTube and Rumble, okay? Easily found right there. And it would be most excellent if you would join me, okay? You don't have to join me for the whole thing, and you don't even have to join me right at the beginning. You can join in progress and then watch the rest because it's all be later. You can watch the rest later because it's all getting recorded, all right? And you know what? You can join me for just a little bit. And also, what you can do is if you're really wanting to talk about Dungeons and Dragons with somebody and you're looking around like, my family doesn't want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, my kids don't want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, like, who can I talk to about this Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie? Well, look no further. You got moi right here. There's this Thursday night, 7 Eastern and at 4 Pacific, again on YouTube and Rumble, all right? And you can live chat with me because we're going to have live chat. And if you live chat with me on YouTube, I'll even throw your comments up on the screen and respond to you. You can chat in Rumble as well. You got live chat in both areas. And yeah, so all you have to do is in Rumble, just search for Movies Merica, all right? And then in YouTube, search for the same thing, Movies Merica. But sometimes in YouTube, when you're searching, it searches for Movies America. Wrong, okay? So up at the very top, after you search for Movies Merica, there's a little blurb there where it says, did you mean Movies America or Movies Merica? You literally have to click on Movies Merica to get my episodes. So Rumble's so much easier. Plus, Rumble is where the cool kids like to go for their shows, all right? YouTube is like your grandma's video website, right? You know, they're always restricting free speech, and it's just lame, over there. It's all about censoring everybody. Where Rumble is the cool hangout, the cool club, all right, where all the hot ladies are at, okay? YouTube is like the nursing home down the street, okay? So, anyway, all that to say is check out Movies Merica, spoiler warning, this Thursday night, all about Dungeons and Dragons on this episode at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, all right? Hope to see you there. Chris Pine is okay in this. He plays a variation of his smart-ass Captain Kirk character in this that he used to play. Remember how he used to have just this witty, quippy banter with like Spock and Bones McCoy. And I thought the way that he played Captain Kirk in the Star Trek movies, particularly the first one, as kind of like a smart-ass Captain Kirk, I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny as hell. I liked the way that he interpreted that Captain Kirk role. But his variation on the Captain Kirk smartass in this is just not good enough.
You blew it!
To carry this movie whatsoever and make it good. Now, there is an early scene with Chris Pine that made this movie look promising potentially because they're in front of this parole board, so to speak, in the prison, and he has to speak up for himself, to defend himself, to rationalize him being paroled, obviously, right? And so he's telling his story about his wife and kid and what he ended up doing to get thrown in prison. And so he's trying to appeal to their heartstrings, right? Please, pretty please, let me out of prison. And that part where they flash back to his wife and daughter and that, and the way they intermix it with humor, with Chris Pine's delivery. He's just got that great comic delivery. I mean, Chris Pine has been in the acting game for a long time, all right? This is not his first trip to the rodeo, okay? He is... he's been through To Hell and High Water, right? Okay. That was a stupid Chris Pine joke there, but well, let's just forget I said that. With Chris Pine and that scene and him retelling his story from back in the day, that was all good, but then shortly after that, it was apparent that this movie pretty much blew its wad in the first 30 minutes. This movie pretty much steals the Guardians of the Galaxy comedy template. Instead of Star-Lord, you have Chris Pine's character. Instead of Gamora, you have Michelle Rodriguez's character. But I'm talking really more about the quips and the jokes and the intentionally awkward banter, most of which does not land. Some does, but most does not.
Crashed and burned, huh, Mav?
They try, the two writers, which I believe the two writers are actually the directors too, because there's two directors and then the writers, I think, are the same two dudes. And I think that they think they're being all smarmy and slick and just, goofy and whatever. And you know what? Hey, God love them for trying, but God hate them for not succeeding, okay, for the most part, okay? Now, there are a few things that do land, and it's about the only thing that keeps you from intentionally choking down a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons action figures to intentionally try to choke yourself to death, okay? Now, there is one exception. There is one sequence that I thought was mildly funny, and this is another one of those struggles, those challenges that they have to get through, right? They have to get to this objective. They have to defeat this challenge to get to the next challenge, to get to the next challenge, to get to the next challenge, right? And with this one, they have to go to a graveyard and they have some kind of spell or whatever. Just think Dungeons and Dragons, so spell, incantation, something like that, where they can raise people from the dead and then they can ask them 5 questions. And so they go to this graveyard to ask all these dead soldiers questions or interrogate them because they're trying to find this magical helmet that's going to help them get to the next objective, right? And they speak the spell, the dead rise one at a time, and they start asking the first dead person, questions like, hey, who did you give the helmet to? We heard that you had it last. Oh, I gave it to this other guy, and then I was stabbed in the neck and I died, but he went that way. And so they have to ask them 5 questions. Otherwise, if they don't ask them the 5 questions, they stay alive in like their grotesque state, right? And so they run out of questions to ask, and so Chris Pine has to, hey, what's your favorite color? Do you like cats? Just questions like that to make sure that they go back, into the dead state, right? And that one was kind of funny. And then at the end, there's one dead guy, and they ask him one question less than what they need to ask him. So, hey, I guess that guy's walking around looking like Kathy Griffin. But anyway, I think that scene is like one of the rare scenes that actually has some funniness to it. It kind of reminded me of kind of Army of Darkness from Sam Raimi, that kind of humor in that graveyard scene. So there's a few treats and nuggets in this. So, you know what? I got to be fair about this movie. All right, my movie maniacs, thanks for sticking around this long, okay? And I'm just going to ask you for a few things here, but these are going to be very easy things, okay? So if you would hit that like button down below for this episode, and then hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, to subscribe to this channel, all right? And then hit that notification bell to get notifications of brand new Movies Merica episodes, okay? Piping hot, steaming new episodes of Movies Merica, especially just for you right there. So one last thing for you to remember, because, you know, if you're like me, you got about 3,117 things you got to remember, like, every day, right? This is one less thing for you to remember. One thing off your plate, okay? And then also, get comfy in those comments down below in this episode, all right? So watch this episode, scroll on down after you watch the episode and get in those comments. I love to hear from you, okay? I like the two-way conversation, and let me know what you liked about this movie, what you didn't like about this movie, who was your favorite character, okay? Anything about this movie or not about this movie, okay? And if you have any tips you want to give me or a movie that you want me to review, hey, throw that in there as well. So I just want to hear from you, okay? So that's the comments. Get down in them. And also, feel free to visit our tdpn.locals.com website. That's TDPN as in Till Death Podcast Network, okay? And that's where we have videos and blogs and articles with all kinds of, like, interesting, like, you know, eye-popping stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else, okay? You are not going to get this anywhere else, okay? So you're not going to get this website like, okay, I've seen this like at 317 other websites. Come on, what's this Van guy talking about, man? Like, no, you are not going to be saying that about this website, okay? And you're going to get movie-related stuff at this website, okay, from moi, and then you're going to get hot-button topic issues and political stuff and music stuff from Ian and Sean in there. Okay, it's edgy, like, in-your-face stuff right there that will make it impossible to look away, okay? Okay, but then again, that's at tdpn.locals.com. And if you go there right now and you put in promo code TDPN, you get a free month, okay? Because there is content on there where it's supporter-only access, okay? And because they get the real good stuff, okay? You don't get that good stuff unless you support us. And you can support us for as low as $3 a month, okay? $3 a month, that's nothing, right? That's like less than a box of Hot Pockets. Come on, you know? So, hey, do yourself a favor. Subscribe to that, all right? Support, you know, creators that are trying to do their thing and are trying to entertain and inform you right there, because that's what I love to do. I love to help you guys out by informing and entertaining you, okay? And so do Ian and Sean, all right? So, again, that's tdpn.locals.com. We'll see you there. The CGI is legendarily bad, okay? And it doesn't take us long to see it because we see Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, they escape prison on this bird character, okay? And they smash through a window, and this bird character flies them out. And this bird character is terribly rendered CGI. And unfortunately, for the CGI artists in this movie, what's going to add to their woe, or what added to their woes in this movie, is that there's a character that can shapeshift into all kinds of animals, okay? So the opportunity to royally jack up some CGI is massive, okay? And they take full advantage of that massive opportunity to jack up some CGI.
You blew it!
Okay? Now, the only saving grace with this movie is that it is a goofy, cartoony movie based on a kid's board game, and it unquestionably does not take itself too seriously, okay? It's not a James Cameron movie where the CGI bar has been set really high, where you have an expectation, okay? Now, unfortunately for this movie, Dungeons & Dragons, most people, maybe not the normiest of the normies, but moviegoers have an expectation of what CGI should look like, how excellent, how good it should look, right? And if you see CGI that is below that, is subpar to that baseline level of CGI, well, then again, anybody other than the normiest of the normies is going to notice that, okay? And it's going to affect the way they watch the movie, and in some cases just outright take them out of the movie. And adding to this, speaking of my mention of James Cameron, we're not that far away as of the recording of this episode from when Avatar: The Way of Water was still in theaters, okay? And even if it's not in the theaters, it's still out there on HD and Blu-ray and whatever. It's streaming, okay? And thank you, James Cameron. You set the CGI bar really, really high again, like you did in 2009. And now you have movies that half-ass the CGI, like Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, looking that much worse because of the masterful CGI that Avatar: The Way of Water featured. That's right. You know what time it is. It's brew review time. Yes. So get on in here and get ready to learn a little bit, boys and girls, about that thing that I love, and I'm sure that some of you love, that thing we call beer, right? So it makes for a good sneak preview to the harder stuff later on, you know. So if you want to start off the beer and you get into the bourbon, the whiskey, the tequila, and whatnot, hey, more power to you. I like the cut of your jib, man, all right? But for right now, it's brew time. And this week's brew is, let me just sit over here or grab this bad boy over here. And this is the Boulevard. And this is the Bourbon Barrel Quad Barrel Aged, all right? So let's make sure you can see that right there, yes. And this bad boy is 12.2% alcohol by volume. So it packs a punch. But it packs a tasty punch, I have to say. And this is from Boulevard, so it's out of St. Louis. It's part of the Anheuser-Busch family there. So, but it's, you know, don't hold that against it. Okay. But yeah, it's good. It's thick and rich, but not too thick and rich. All right. It's thick and rich, relatively speaking, compared to like your Budweiser, like your lagers, right? Your Coors, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's got a little sweetness to it. You know, it's a quadruple. And so it's like a thicker beer, like your stouts, your porters, that kind of thing, all right? But it's calling to me. It's calling to me, people, so I got to drink it. Let's check it out. Oh, yeah. That's 12.2% alcohol by volume goodness right there, everybody. All right? Okay, let's get on with the show. Michelle Rodriguez is essentially Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, from The Mandalorian in this. She's basically the potato scarfing muscle of the group, and her character's name is Holga, and she is there as part of the team, and they send her in when a battering ram pretty much is needed, okay? And she's a muscle. She's like the muscle bound. She's a woman of action, and so as much butt kicking as she does in this, she's got a very minimal amount of dialogue in this. And her amount of dialogue, it really rivals the amount of dialogue we typically see from Keanu Reeves in the John Wick movies.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot to her character. Not very nuanced. Not a lot of backstory to it. They're not interested in trying to get you intrigued by her character, Holga, in an existential matter or existential way or anything like that. She's pretty one-dimensional. except for one scene where she reunites with her ex, and her ex happens to be played by actually a very big movie star in this movie. So when he popped up on the screen, like, whoa, okay, that's a surprise. I'm pretty much in a comatose vegetative state from the rest of this movie, boring the hell out of me. But then all of a sudden, oh, whoa, look who's playing this character right here. Whoa, okay. And so as it turns out, this big movie star is in this doing a cameo role because he's doing his director buddy a favor. One of the directors of this movie was in a short-lived TV series with this big movie star.
Let's go, I'm bored, let's go.
That's playing this cameo role as Holga's ex in this. And yeah, apparently this big movie star likes this director, one of the co-directors of this movie. So you see that every once in a while in a movie just kind of popping in. Kind of like Matt Damon just had a cameo role in Interstellar. Like, I didn't see that coming, right? Before Interstellar came out, I'd heard, like, oh, hey, watch out, there's this cameo from this big movie star in this. I had no idea. And then, of course, when all of a sudden, Matt Damon shows up in Interstellar, and in this movie, you have something like that. Remember how Bob Barker on The Price is Right always reminded everyone to spay or neuter their pets? Remember that back in the day? Okay. Well, the writers in this movie decided to do one better than old Bob, and they decided to neuter the male characters in one Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So apparently some wizard or the writers open up the Book of Emasculation and cast a weenie spell on Chris Pine and Hugh Grant and Justice Smith and others in this. And the one exception as far as the characters in this that wasn't emasculated is Regé-Jean Page's character of a paladin in this. He's like the one sole character, male character in this that doesn't completely have their balls cut off. Okay, he's like an actual a manly, masculine hero. Dare I say it, toxic. He's a toxic masculine character. All right, and the writers are undoubtedly trying to score some major feminazi points. And they've agreed to putting up the balls of the actors, the male actors, on the chopping block as payment for paying for those feminazi points. And so you got Michelle Rodriguez, you got Sophia Lillis from the It movies. She played the redhead in the It movies as a shapeshifter. And then Daisy Head, or Daisy Heed, if you've seen So I Married an Ex-Murderer. Daisy Head as Sophia, I think is her name. Sophia, the Red Wizard. So Michelle Rodriguez and Sophia Lillis, woo, and then Daisy Head. They are the women, or they're the women of power. It's girl power. Girl power. Okay, it's girl power in this movie. And yeah, they pretty much keep the men's balls in their purses for this movie because they are the ones that take care of the action. They're the ones who do the ass kicking, okay? And the men are just mostly like wisecracking, smart-ass damsels in distress, pretty much. And I have to say, if Chris Pine's Captain Kirk character acted this way on the Starship Enterprise, yeah, he'd be demoted down to petty officer. Hey, everybody. Hey, I know we're right in the middle of this Dungeons & Dragons spoiler-free review, but let me just take a minute or two or three to tell you about Nature Clear Recovery Powder. And you're going to be glad, you're going to be happy that I told you about Nature Clear Recovery Powder. So, it comes in handy if you happen to know that you're going to be pounding a few too many Dungeons and Dragons tankards of ale, and you want to proactively prevent a hangover. Well, then all you got to do is throw a little of this Nature Clear recovery powder into some water and drink it in, okay? And it comes in these handy packets. You know, you see like the little vertical packets, you know, sometimes. And you just pour one of those packets in a bottle, and maybe some bottled water or whatever, in a glass, whatever. And, yeah, you just drink that down. Again, if you want to proactively prevent a hangover because you know you're going to be partied up a little bit, you know, you're going to have a little too many Boulevard bourbon barrel-aged quads, all right? You know that's going to go down, and you want to be prepared, okay? So, I mean, because, like they say, failing to prepare is preparing to fail, okay? But also, if you didn't take it proactively and you went out and, yeah, you were just shooting tequila a little too much, well, you could take it afterwards as well, okay? You can come on home and you can just drink in some Nature Clear recovery powder, and you're good to go that way as well, okay? So you don't have to take it ahead of time. Not at all. And so also it works for recovery from smoking and vaping, okay? So this is kind of all-around recovery product whatsoever. No limitations. Okay, probably won't help you recover from a gunshot wound, okay? So we're not going that far, okay? So, but yeah, with that, so click on the Nature Clear link in the description below in this episode, and it'll take you right to their website. And then just pick out what you want to buy, and then in the cart, there's like a discount code or promo code field, and you just have to put in the promo code MOVIES. Yes. Plant that on your brain. Movies. Type in movies in that discount code or promo code field right there, and you get up to 25% off your purchase of this miraculous, magical Nature Clear recovery powder, all right? And if you're like me, you need that stuff, okay? So, yeah, so just click on the Nature Clear link in the description down below. Order yourself some Nature Clear, but before you order it, put in movies as a promo code. All right, everybody, let's get back to the review. We've just seen too much of what we see in this movie before, okay? A movie with zero stakes. Sure, they write it like the main characters are in mortal danger, but with the goofy tone of this movie, you really never think that the characters are in any kind of danger. You never think they're going to perish or die or whatever, okay? And so as a result, my interest went from about 23% to about 3% about a half an hour into this movie. And sure, you know, a goofy tone of a movie works in a movie like The Princess Bride, but that's just because movies like The Princess Bride are billed purely as a comedy, right? Rob Reiner, when he made The Princess Bride, and I know Rob Reiner's a tool nowadays, but back in the day, he used to make good movies like Princess Bride and A Few Good Men. But in The Princess Bride, yeah, it's never billed as anything serious. It's just kind of a fun family, goofy comedy set in some medieval land somewhere. And so even though there are really no stakes, it's the laughs in The Princess Bride that keeps your attention. You're chuckling the whole time. It's hilarious. It's a fun experience. But Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, it's a movie that's based on a game of adventure that's supposed to be this serious and dangerous game where characters could die and do die when you're playing, you know, this board game for real. And so the aforementioned humor that I talked about earlier that's in this Dungeons and Dragons movie just isn't good enough to hold your attention, okay? Like Guardians of the Galaxy, whose comedy template that is what Dungeons and Dragons steals, the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy is good enough to hold your attention, okay? But not in this D&D movie whatsoever. And so, since your attention is at 0% when the characters in this movie have to look for this thing and that thing to get to the next level and then this other level. Instead of holding your attention, it just sings you a sweet, sleep-inducing lullaby instead of commanding your attention, right? It should grab your attention and never let go. But because there's nothing in this movie to hook you, to bring you in, you don't care.
I don't care!
At least I didn't care whatsoever because we've seen it too many times before. Plus, this movie being 2 hours and 14 minutes, that's right, you heard me correctly. This movie, Dungeons & Dragons, is 2 hours and 14 minutes. That, my friends, should be some kind of federal cinematic crime. It's about that time, my fellow movie maniacs, to ask you again to like this video, all right? So just like it, all right? So just like, that like button is calling to you down there, all right? As is the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. If you've already subscribed, you know what? You've already done God's work, and God bless you, my son or daughter, okay? And then also hit that notification bell down there as well so you get a nice little alert when a brand new piping hot episode of Movies Merica is on its way to you. Yes, okay? And then also get down in those comments, all right? Write yourself a comment. I mean, you're a great writer. I know you're a great writer. But you know what? You don't have to be a great writer, though, because when you get down in the comments, like, it doesn't have to be something long. Just say, hey, great job, Van. Terrible job, Van. This is what you need to do better. Or, hey, I like this character. Or I love it. It doesn't have, point is, it doesn't have to be a long comment, okay? And you know what? To be honest with you, I'm hoping it's not a long comment, okay? Because I don't want to read 17 paragraphs, okay, of your comment, all right there. So no offense, but I wouldn't. If I was somebody else, I wouldn't want to read 17 paragraphs of a comment from yours truly either. So okay, but I still want to hear from you. I still want to hear from you because I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for you guys as well, okay? And then again, let me remind you to go to tdpn.locals.com. And right now, if you put in promo code TDPN, you get a free month, okay? That's full access to everything, okay? You get carte blanche. You're up in the VIP section getting bottle service for free, all right, from hot waitresses for a month when you put in promo code TDPN, okay? And then after that, it's like just $3 a month, you know? You can support us for more money than that, but the minimum is $3 a month. $3 is nothing, okay? All right? I'm a cheapskate, and even to me, $3 isn't much, okay? All right. So, and also, again, I want to remind you that my Movies Merica spoiler warning show is this Thursday night, talking all about Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. And again, it's very spoilery. It's chock full of spoilers, okay? And I'm going to go for an hour or so talking about this movie. And if you're dying to talk about this movie, or you just want to watch, you know, a live stream about this movie, join me. Join me. And it's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So that's 6 Central, 5 Mountain Time. Again, I have to do math, okay? And during that show, we have the live chat feature. And you can live chat with me. You can ask me questions. And if you live chat with me on YouTube, I can put your comment on the screen as well. And then I'll answer your chats through there. So you might be asking, hey, what do I do to watch this Movies Merica spoiler warning show this Thursday night? Well, you just have to go to Rumble and type in Movies Merica. And it'll take you right to it. It's less complicated than trying to find it on YouTube. Because YouTube, you can type in Movies Merica. But YouTube tends to want to search for Movies America. Wrong. So with YouTube, you have to actually hit a blurb at the bottom of the search field that says search for Movies America instead, right? So Rumble is where it's at. Just watch me on Rumble. That's the cool platform to watch videos at, okay?
Let's rumble!
So, all right. Just wanted to remind you of all that, and on with the review. So, the $1 million question. is should you go check out Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves?
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Well, no, you shouldn't go check it out at the movies, okay? Don't bother getting in your car and driving to the theater to go check out this movie. It is not worth that kind of money or time to go check it out. Now, if you have like a tribe of rugrats that you're trying to keep entertained just so you can get a nap, and you want to use this movie as like an electronic babysitter, then yeah, sure, take the kids to this movie, and while they're sitting there, you can lounge back that seat and take yourself a sweet, sweet nap while this movie is playing. It might be the only rest you get with these kids, right? So unless that's the situation, don't bother to go see this at the theaters, all right? So you have been warned, okay? But, hey, I'm going to close it out, but as I always say, hey, people, get out there. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. All the best.
Hey, don't leave yet. All right? Hey, I want to hang out with you for a little bit longer, okay? So, like this video and subscribe to this channel, okay? And also, make sure to watch these videos. They're getting lonely. They don't want to be left by themselves. And like them as well, if you would, all right? And again, thanks for watching the Till Death Podcast Network and Movies Merica.